Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Multifamily Melvin with secretsofrealeestatemillions.com. And today I want to talk about a very frequently asked question of us on the website, and that is about property management fees. And what I'm going to cover today is what should we expect with property management fees, what's included, what's not included, and I also want to cover some common misconceptions of what people typically think or beginners think that is included that's really not. All right, well, let's start off with the biggie is when we are out there shopping around for property management companies, we're going to be targeting somebody who charges a percent of collected rents. And keyword here is collected rents. Why is that? Well, what it does is it puts pressure on the property management company to keep the property as close to or at full occupancy. All right, so what it does is when Josephine in apartment A says, I'm going to move out in 30 days, it puts pressure on that manager to go ahead and get that unit filled as quickly as possible. All right, so pretty obvious. Percent of collected rents versus gross rents or a flat fee management company. All right, well, what should we expect? And it's going to vary from market to market, it's going to vary from property to property. But what we're going to be looking for is probably going to be anywhere from 5 to 10% of those collected rents. And again, I'm focusing on multifamily properties. Commercial, you're probably going to see the same thing, but there's going to be some nuances. But I'm just going to focus on apartments for purposes of this discussion. All right, so cool. All right, 5 to 10%, but what's included in that 5 to 10%? Let's go ahead and cover those. Let me clear the board. And let's first talk about what's not included, and then we'll go ahead and cover what's included. And like I say, some of these may be obvious to you, but it's very common to have some misconceptions out there. And the number one common misconception that I've heard from beginning investors is they believe that advertising is a part of the property management fee. It's not. It's outside. Yes, your property management company is responsible for marketing and leasing the units, but they do not cover the actual advertising. So the actual newspaper, internet, or possibly even radio ads that you might be running for your apartments. All right. So that's a very common misconception. The other area that's kind of gray to beginning investors is the maintenance. Now, here's pretty much what I've seen is that labor and materials for maintenance are going to be outside. I mean, most certainly materials are going to be outside of your 5 to 10%. But typically, your labor is going to be outside of that as well. What they're certainly responsible for is coordination of maintenance. And what do I mean by coordination? Well, when Josephine calls and says, my toilet's not working right, can you send somebody over to look at it? Okay, they go ahead and take that call, create the work order, hand that off to a maintenance person. The maintenance person goes over, fixes it. Any materials that they use and their labor is typically going to be outside of that, but that coordination activity is going to be included in that 5 to 10%. Caveat here is sometimes you'll have a property where it's large enough that it supports an on-site maintenance person, and if that's included in your agreement, then that is, obviously that labor is included. But typically, it's going to be, you're going to see it outside of that 5 to 10%. It's going to vary. Like I say, on the larger properties, where you do have an on-site maintenance guy, it's going to be included. But materials, again, most certainly out. What's not included? Talking about materials is going to be capital expenditures. Again, the maintenance company or the management company should go ahead and coordinate any capital expenditures. So let's say building A needs a new roof. Well, they'll go ahead and coordinate getting bids and everything as far as what's needed to fix that roof. But then the actual capital expenditure is going to come out of your cash flow from the property. All right? And some of the others are really just going to be pretty obvious. What's not included is, utilities, uh, taxes, insurance, and that sort of thing. And of course, your mortgage and that sort of thing are not going to be included. So these things here might be a little bit obvious, but these are very common misconceptions or kind of gray areas with some folks who are first starting out. All right, well, what's included with our 5 to 10%? Well, we want to collect those rents. So collection of rents, again, coordination of the maintenance, the actual marketing and leasing activities. And let's go ahead and define those a little bit. All right, marketing. We're going to be looking at the market, doing market surveys of, calling other property management companies, other owners, finding out what the rents are out there in the market, making sure that the property has appropriate rents for the market. But again, as an owner, it's your job to be on top of that as well. And then the actual leasing activities, receiving the calls, taking folks through the apartments, and then go ahead and signing up all the lease documents and application. So that's really the biggies. What else? The other biggie is going to be paying the bills, because I don't want to be writing those checks every month for the dumpster, for the insurance, and that sort of thing, and even for the mortgage. We want our property management company to go ahead and cover all of those things, and then give us a nice, clean report of what came in, what went out, and some folks are going to be looking for a report like that every 2 weeks. I typically, on my properties, have just gone with a monthly report. That's been fine with me, at least so far. And anyway, that's pretty much it. So I did, like I say, I wanted to cover some of those common misconceptions. And once again, we're going to be looking for a company that has 5 to 10% of those collected rents. All right. All right. Well, for videos like this and other tips coming into your inbox every week, go ahead and head on over to secretsofrealestatemillions.com and sign up for our free e-course. All right. So we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Bye-bye.